Hi, I'm Eric with Simply Elegant Home Cooking, and today I'm going to show you my recipe for steak and egg hash. I usually eat this for breakfast, but this could be a dinner. It's hearty enough for really any meal. It's a real crowd pleaser, so stick around. You're going to love it. So for our steak and egg hash, we're going to start off with a New York strip steak. You can use other cuts such as ribeye, but New York strip is my favorite. I've removed this from the fridge an hour before cooking time and I've blotted it dry. And then the next step, you want to season it very liberally with coarse black pepper and salt. Press that in a bit, and I'm going to flip it over and hit the other side as well. And I have a cast iron skillet that I have preheated on medium-high heat. You want to give it a couple minutes, make sure it comes all the way up to temperature. We're going to go in with just a very small amount of a neutral flavored oil. Swirl that a bit. I'm going to lay the steak in. And that's the sound you want to hear. You want to make sure it sizzles. We're going to cook it for about 3 minutes on each side. And while that steak is sizzling away, we're going to prep the potatoes. I have some baby gold potatoes. You could probably use other types as well. And you just want to cut these into a fairly large dice. You want them to look about like that. So I'm going to continue with the rest. And we're 3 minutes in, so I just gave the steak a flip. Here's what the first side looks like. You can see it's got a nice crust. That's how you want it to look. We're going to let the other side go another 3 minutes. Okay, our steak has now had 3 minutes on each side. And just the last thing you want to do with the steak still in the pan is to sear the fat cap a little bit. We're going to let that go about a minute. And after about a minute on the fat cap, we can take that off. And what we're going to do, we're going to cook the potatoes in this very same pan. So I'm just going to throw them in there. And I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of butter that I've cut up into cubes. And once your potatoes are in there with the butter, you just want to stir everything around a little bit to coat. We still have this on medium-high heat. And once you've coated the potatoes with the butter, what you want to do, you want to let them go for about 2 or 3 minutes at a time before you turn them. That's going to help develop some nice char on the exterior. And after a couple minutes, we can hit these with some salt and pepper. And give them their first flip. You can see we got some nice color already on these potatoes. And every couple of minutes, we'll continue to turn them. And we already added some salt and pepper. At about this point, as the potatoes are about halfway done, you want to add any other seasonings. This will give them less time so they don't burn up in the pan. So I'm going to go in with some cayenne. You can use anything, any type of spice you like. A little bit of garlic powder. And some paprika. So I'm just going to add that in and continue to stir. Okay, and you want to cook the potatoes till they look about like this. You definitely want to get some char on. Don't be afraid of a little bit of char, but we're going to remove these. And in that same skillet, we're going to cook the rest of the vegetables. So I'm going to go in with a little bit more butter, and I'm going to add in some onion. That's a sweet onion, and some red bell pepper, but you could use whatever type of vegetables you like. So we're just going to add that in and give it another big stir. And every time you add something to the pan, you want to season it a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper. and a little bit more sea salt. And I also like to add just a very small pinch of sugar. That's going to help us caramelize the onions. Give it another stir. And we're going to allow these to continue to cook down. And when your onions look almost done like this, you want to add back in the potatoes. Stir that up. And we're going to let this go just a couple minutes to allow those flavors to meld together. And we're almost ready to put together the steak and egg hash. Okay, so our vegetables look ready. I'm going to set these aside. And one of the last things I do is I'm going to fry a couple of eggs on that same burner. So I'm going to go in with just a little bit of oil. Swirl that around now that this pan has come up to heat. And drop in the eggs. So we're going to fry those up for just a couple minutes. We are almost ready. All right, and that's what we're looking for. These are perfect over easy, so I'm going to take these off the heat and remove them. And for the final steps, we can put everything together. So I'm going to go in with some fresh chopped Italian parsley. And we can go back on with the steak. And I'm going to heat this up just a little bit for just about a minute or so. I'm going to turn the heat back on and we're going to just stir this up a little bit as it goes to get a little bit more doneness on the steak, but not much. Okay, just a minute or two later, this looks perfect. So I'm going to take this off the heat final and we can plate this all up. Okay, so here is everything plated up. Let's give it a try. I like to cut right into that egg, and that's a perfect sauce. It's going to go in there. I like to get a little bit of everything in a bite. Wow, that is so decadent, so perfectly cooked. This came together. It's a very, very easy dish. And what I love so much about steak and egg hash, you can use almost any type of vegetable, any type of seasoning you like. So feel free to customize this recipe. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm Eric with Simply Elegant Home Cooking. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.